Hello again, everyone, and welcome into RedHawk Football Weekly. I'm Steve Baker, the voice of the RedHawks Miami, coming off a 28-12 road victory at Bowling Green to end the regular season, and we'll ride into Detroit this weekend on a 7-game win streak to take on the Ohio University Bobcats in the Mid-American Conference Championship game. Joining me is head coach Chuck Martin. And Coach, just another dominating performance by your defense on Friday at Bowling Green, and one of the best weapons in the conference, Harold Fannin Jr., wasn't a factor in the game. He's going to get some of his, but really just defensively, you just didn't allow the Falcons out of the gate except for one drive.
Yeah, again, it all starts with defending the run. They couldn't really get anything going on the ground almost the whole day, outside of probably that one drive. They had a couple decent runs on that drive. But, again, it all starts with defending the run. And we stopped the run, and then having a good game plan, Coach Breeken and his staff, and then the players executing the plan and know where Fannin is all the time. So he did get his catches, but there was bodies around him. We got him on the ground. He's so dangerous after he catches it.
Right.
He didn't get those big plays after catch, which he's done throughout his whole career, not just this year. So just knowing where he is and making sure our eyes were where they need to be. And then, again, with the lead, getting after the quarterback, and we know how talented Bazelak is, and putting pressure on any good quarterback is the deal. So giving up, we gave up a safety on offense. We gave 10 points on defense. On the road against a really, really potent offense that is good at running and throwing. They're one of the more balanced offenses that we've seen all year that really doesn't rely on one or the other, kind of equal 50-50 with the Stewart kid and all the passing. So, as you put it, just a fantastic performance and a huge game on the road with the season on the line.
Yeah, indeed. And, it was one of those games where you felt Miami had to feel like we were in control of that game pretty much, but the safety, they go back and get a field goal after the free kick, and it's 7-5. But, there were 2 points in that game where it was down to a single score game, and the offense responded, got the touchdown, got it back out to 2 scores. And, big plays after big plays by your offense really were key in that game. And we've seen that over these 7 games, a lot of chunk plays for your team.
Yeah, really good job. We start off the game really good on both sides of the ball. We had a 7-0 lead. We were playing good on ST, forcing bad punts, defense getting stops. It looked like Cade made it 14-0.
Oh, yeah.
And why the game was a little bit closer than probably it could have been. If you're up 14-0 at that point, 5 minutes later it's 7-5, and that's a pretty big swing at that point. And then, like you said, when they got it to 7-5, we went 8 plays, 82 yards, and immediately made it 14-5. Then it kind of went back and forth. They went on that great 92-yard drive. They were going into the win, so not only did they score, but they used up the whole third quarter on an 8-minute drive.
Yeah.
So when we want to have the ball and have the wind at our backs and be aggressive offensively, they were methodically moving the ball, which is exactly what you want to do, what good teams do. And it spilled into the fourth quarter, and now they've got the wind, and it's 14-12, and it's at their place, and it feels like we should be up by more. It's kind of one of those games that you typically don't win, But then the offense responds with a big play to Javon, and we're right back up 21-12. And then we get a 3-and-out, which was key because they had the win. There's still probably 11 minutes to go in the game.
Yeah.
And then we get the 3-and-out. Then we go on another 6-minute drive. We kind of did to them in the fourth quarter what they did to us in the third quarter. We kind of methodically worked the ball down the field. We ended up turning it over on downs, but then there was only 3 minutes left in the game. So, again, like you've said, total team effort.
Yeah.
Offense, we ran for over 100 yards. Brett threw for 255 and 3 touchdowns. Special teams was really good. Bev with 3 punts inside the 20, setting up field position. Cy Walters forcing a bad punt, which set up our first score, all right? Yeah. Cade back on return, setting up field position. Defense, obviously, we've already talked about a dominating performance against one of the better offenses that we've seen. So, again, you play a really good team on the road. You're an underdog on a Friday after Thanksgiving in really bad wind conditions and weather conditions. Our kids handled it, and our coaches had them very well prepared.
Let's take a look at those first half highlights. And the game, as always, starts with the defense for the Miami RedHawks. And Savio Frazier will get things started.
Yeah, great job again. We're starting pinned because good special teams, and then Savio gets a first of many sacks on the day. They try to do a run play action, and Savio pours through and gets on the quarterback, and he's been a great addition to our team this year.
Yeah,
he's played really good football for us.
Again, a couple more looks at it here is just blew by the defender. wasn't really blocked on the play, got back and got Bazelak on the ground. And then that leads to a special teams play here by Cy Walters.
Yeah, great job getting right in the punter's face, forcing a 12-yard punt. And again, the plays that you don't remember, everybody remembers the touchdown that ensues, but Cy sets this whole thing. Defense, first thing was good kickoff coverage, then it was good defense, and then now we got a short field. And offense has to take advantage. And one thing we've talked about over and over this year is taking advantages. And we've been doing a great job on offense. And when we get these chances, it's great to get Cade back. We had Cade down the middle of the field, and we take advantage of the whole sequence.
Yeah, indeed. And this was a quick change indeed. The very first play of the drive. Down the middle, great catch here by Cade McDonald. Great to get him back in there. After a punt and safety, you see it's 7-5, and then Miami goes on the drive from their 26, beginning with Keon Mosey. 3rd and 2, a big third down conversion on the drive, 5 yards.
The biggest play in the drive. It was a long drive, but we had just been stuffed and got a safety. Now we got a 3rd and 2, and we get a great job up front. Borders and Big John doing a great job in getting us some air. And again, that's the play no one remembers, the 3rd and 2. They remember the Reggie touchdown later. So huge play in the drive. There we hit Reggie on a short one. Again, we ran on this drive. We threw on this drive. We spread the ball around. Here again, we hit Reggie in the hole for a big chunk play, getting the ball down in their territory. Good job by Brett reading the coverage, working inside out and getting the ball to Reggie.
Using all 3 receivers as you take a look at this pass to Reggie Virgil once again, but having Cade McDonald back, we saw him on the touchdown, was a big plus because now you really have to take 3 guys seriously, and Cade McDonald on the swing goes 10 yards for this one.
Yeah, great job by Andre Johnson all day on all these swing passes, all the bubble screens. Andre does an amazing job blocking for us. Kind of one of the unsung heroes that a lot of people don't know about.
And this is how you draw this up on 1st and 20, 1st and 10, and off the hands of Javon Tracy, right into the hands of Reggie Virgil for an easy touchdown.
Yeah, caught a little break there. They kind of blew the coverage. The corner was playing trap, and the safety was playing 3 read, and kind of worked out that they weren't on the same page, and they kind of were both in the same spot, and no one was on Reggie when the ball got tipped. There was no one there to defend it. So caught a little break, took advantage. I would say the football gods, they busted a coverage, and things usually don't go your way when you bust coverage, and they weren't on the same page, and it worked out good for us. But great response by the offense. Great first half by the defense, obviously held them to 3 points. Yeah. We're up 14-5 and feeling good at halftime.
You know, and we'll talk a bit more about it, but Silas Walters is a name we've talked about a lot, and Cade McDonald coming back. We'll talk about both of those guys when we come back. As the RedHawks are up at the half, we'll take a look at the second half highlights in just a moment. Stay with us here on RedHawk Football Weekly.
Yeah. Done with that pizza box, Krusty? Clean side gets recycled, greasy side gets trashed.
Make your recycling count. Rocky.
Located in the heart of Butler County and only 13 miles from Miami University, the Courtyard by Marriott in Hamilton is the ideal location when traveling to the Miami campus. With modern style and spacious guest rooms, journey to relaxation at the Courtyard Marriott, a proud partner of Miami Athletics.
And welcome back into RedHawk Football Weekly. Steve Baker here, the voice of the RedHawks Miami, with that 28-12 victory over Bowling Green. Will be the home team on Saturday at noon at Ford Field in Detroit for the Mid-American Conference Championship against the Ohio University Bobcats. Head coach Chuck Martin joins us as we talk a little bit about the second half. But again, 2 guys that I mentioned there, and there's so many of them on this team, but Silas Walters, we saw him make the big special teams play. He put pressure on him again later in that same position. But this is a kid that has come along, played special teams last year, is put in the role of an every down player this year, and then Cade McDonald coming back, just putting extra pressure on the defenses, and he's going to get the football, and that just takes so much pressure off Reggie Virgil and Javon Tracy.
Yeah, it's nice to have 3 guys that are all really number 1 receivers. So and then you have a quarterback that takes what the defense gives them and doesn't force the ball to one guy and spreads the ball around. Talking about Silas, obviously Silas came as a walk-on, and 2 years ago at spring game we put him on scholarship, and he made his niche on special teams. Like, he's a kid that came here and was going to find a way to play, and he found out that, hey, I can get on special teams and make an impact. He was huge and helping us win a conference title a year ago. And he had a role on defense, but he had a major role on ST. He led the country in ST tackles. And this year, it's his time. You lose Michael Dye, you lose Quez Warren. Now it's his time to be the starting safety. I said it's more impressive what he's doing on ST this year because he forced a bad punt. He downs the punt inside the one. Like, when it's just your role to play ST, you're fresh. Every fourth down, you're running out there fresh.
Run out there ready to go.
When you're playing every snap on defense like he is, and you still play at such a high level on ST, it's really credit to him and the coaches and getting him prepared and him taking the time, because ST takes time to prepare for, and he spends a lot of extra time at night to come up with Coach Block, and it's nice that Coach Blanton's his coach, and Coach Blanton played DB and played for me at Notre Dame, but Coach Blanton played 6.5 years in the NFL, and he played a ton of ST, so him making sure the importance of fourth down, and obviously it's been huge for our football team for years.
It has indeed. Let's take a look at the second half. There were no points scored in the third. Teams went back and forth. Late in the third, though, Bowling Green goes on the drive, and the Miami defense continues to dominate. Falcons 1st and 10 at their own 24, and Ty Wise.
Yeah, great job by Ty reading the quarterback's eyes, getting in the throwing lane, trying to get the ball to Fan, and he got underneath Fan and picked it off and set us up on a short field on the 35-yard line. So huge play. Didn't take advantage of this one. Unfortunately, this could have made it 21 or at least 17-5, but we end up having to punt the ball, unfortunately. But great play there. You see Ty, great hands. The versatility of Ty Wise is pretty amazing. Dropping in coverage, rushing the quarterback, getting sacks. Can do so many things for a football team, and him and Sally have been obviously great players right next to each other for the last 3 years.
Late in the third, Connor Bazelak again gets hurried on this play for an incomplete pass. Corey Settle just stays right with it.
Yeah, and great coverage again. He had time to actually throw this one, but great coverage on the back end. Taking Fannin away again, forced a scramble. Corey flushed him, and we get off the field.
Falcons do score on the drive, make it 14-12, but again, the Miami offense starts the move, and it begins again with Keon Mosey. Rush for 4 yards. That'll bring up 2nd down and 6. And the RedHawks go right to it, and here's the big play of the game.
Yeah, great job again. Great response by. I said, if you want to win the football game, we got to score here, guys. Yeah, that's what he said. Sounds like you want to win. If we go 3-and-out and punt it, they're going to win the game. You got to score right now, and 2 plays later we're in the end zone. So probably should have said that earlier in the game.
And look at it here, and again, Brett.
Great protection. Great protection. Brett's going to make a lot of good throws if he can step up in the pocket and get all that clean air. Plenty of time. Javon wins a one-on-one matchup and takes it all the way, and obviously huge play for us.
Big play by the defense on the next drive. Again, pressure on the quarterback. Bazelak sacked for 9 yards. Brian Ugu gets there.
Yeah, and who else? Brian Ugu creating havoc in the backfield. What a great last year Brian's had for us. Could have went places and got paid a lot of money, wanted to come back and be part of it, loved this program, loved his teammates, and is having a monster year.
This is 4th and 3 with 2.5 minutes to go, and again, the receiver is out of bounds, incomplete, and Miami will take over the ball 1st and 10, and then line up in victory a couple of times, or actually not yet here. This is Keon Mosey, excuse me, as Mosey gets the touchdown late. 27 yards around the left side, and again, over 100 yards for Keon Mosey, over 1,000 yards for the season.
Yeah, back-to-back years we've had 1,000-yard rushers and different players. Testament to, obviously, starts with the big boys up front, the offensive line. Got to feel great about that, and Coach Pat and the job they do, and you see him here grinding and getting, and then what the year Mosey's had, what a phenomenal year he's had. He's taken, when you give him some air, he takes them and makes big plays. So, great way to finish off the Falcons.
This is the Falcons' final drive, and again, the quarterback will go down and sacked for a loss. Corey Settle will get pressure, although, again, Brian Ugu was on the edge on that one. Then this is 4th and 14 with 1:17 to go, and Adam Trick does the trick and sacks again Connor Bazelak.
Great way to finish it off with the defense on the field, kind of fitting the way the day went. And then just having a lead and letting those kids pin their ears back. We always talk about when our D-line knows it's past time, they usually get to the quarterback and create a lot of havoc.
And Miami lines up in victory, and the RedHawks will win it 28-12. And I know you and Scott Loeffler had talked about possibly meeting in the championship game, and that would be as good as it would get for the Falcons this year. And I know that you're good friends, and talked about the ball game a little bit, but Falcons had a great year and they're going to go bowling.
Yeah, no, they had a really good season. They lost by 7 to Penn State, lost by 7 to A&M. They ran through the conference schedule, played great football, and again, it's hard to get, like we said, just hard to get to the championship game. There was going to be a good team not getting to the championship game. Fortunately for us, we outplayed them. We made a couple more plays, and we beat them, and we get to go to Detroit, and it doesn't take anything away from the team they had or the job they did. And again, with the big schedule, the schedules aren't all even. Everybody doesn't play as good a team. Some teams had a lighter schedule, so it's just the way it is. It's going to be very hard to get there year in, year out, and they had a fantastic year, and it was a great win for us.
It was indeed. Miami finishes the regular season 8-4, 7-1 in Mid-American Conference play. We'll take on the Ohio University Bobcats Saturday at noon in Ford Field in Detroit. We'll come back and talk about that game in a moment here on RedHawk Football Weekly.
Hey RedHawk fans, Miami is proud to partner with Rumpke Waste and Recycling to keep our campus clean and green. Make sure you recycle your bottles and cans at all Miami games. And make sure you are recycling everything you can at home. Visit rumpke.com.
And we are back on RedHawks Football Weekly. Again, Miami in the Mid-American Conference Championship game for the second straight year. They'll take on the Ohio University Bobcats at noon on Saturday. Terry and I will be there, and we'll have the call for you on the Miami Sports Network beginning at 11 a.m. Bobcats are 9-3, 7-1. Miami on the 7-game winning streak. Bobcats on a 6-game winning streak after their only MAC loss was to Miami, and RedHawks win that game 30-20 back on October 19th. And Coach, you were in the same position last year as far as going to the championship game, facing a team that had beaten you earlier in the season. Kind of the opposite in that you beat the Bobcats this year, but it's a situation where these two teams, it couldn't be more appropriate to have these two teams on there, because when you look down the stretch, the two best teams in the conference.
Yeah, and two teams lead the league in defense. They've given up the fewest points. We've given up one more point than they did. Both teams can run and throw the ball. Both teams are solid in special teams. Very similar programs. Both teams have a lot of pride and a lot of tradition. Both are really good schools. We attract the same type of kid. We have a lot of, like I said, I think they have a lot of respect for us, but we have a lot of respect for them. We know they're going to be well coached. We know they're going to play hard. We know they're going to do everything they can to give themselves a chance to win every time you play Ohio. Again, the first game this year was the outlier of my 11 games against Ohio. From my first game when we were up 24 points and blew a lead, or 21 points. Like, they've almost all been knocked down, drag-out games, and that's what you anticipate when Miami plays Ohio. It's a huge rivalry game. I just think back to, like, how did we get here? 1-4.
Yeah.
First time we played Ohio, the farthest thing from our mind was playing in Detroit.
Right.
We had just beaten Eastern Michigan to get to 2-4. Now we got Ohio coming to town. They're off to a good start. We got to really, if we lose, the season's over. Not the season's over, but getting to Detroit's over.
Yeah.
And we play really good that day to get to 2-1 in the league. They lose to us to get to 2-1 in the league.
Yeah.
Probably at that point, still the last thing in either mind was getting to, like,
Yeah,
we were both
to
one.
Detroit, yeah.
We were both of us were sitting at 2-1. One more loss, neither of us are getting there.
Yeah.
And then they run the table and we run the table. So very similar years, because I know at that point in the year I was worried about just trying to win the next week. We were 3-4. We were starting to play good football, but it was only been a couple weeks. I know they had just lost to us. I'm sure they weren't worried about Detroit. They were worried about trying to go beat a good Buffalo team the next week, which they did. So, and then we both just keep getting better and better as the year goes on, and test to the coaching staffs on both squads, and testament to the players on both squads that are willing to keep working hard to get better each week.
You touched on something that we talk about all the time, and it's difficult, I would think, for players to do that when, there's so much ahead to play for. But all throughout this season, you and your coaching staff have kept the players focused on just the next game, because that one meant the most. Every game, and for Ohio too. I mean, every week was a championship.
Yep. No, when we lost to Toledo, we said we're in the round of 256. You think March Madness is crazy with 64?
Yeah.
Round of 64 to 32 to 60. I said we're in the round of 256, guys.
Yeah.
I said, and we can pretend, but if we want to go to Detroit, we still. And again, I told the team, and I honestly believe, I thought we could go 1-11 at that point. We were capable, like where we were at that point in time, how bad we were playing for the level we expect to play at. and just where our heads, we were all disjointed in so many different ways. We were all not feeling sorry for ourselves. We were all unhappy for a variety of reasons, mostly because we had high expectations, and when you're 1-4, and you have high expectations like we did, it's hard to keep, like, hey, we're just going to keep pushing through it. But our coaches did a great job, and then the players and the senior leadership, the Gabberts, the Sal Pecks, the Wises, the Kobe Hiltons, the Brian Ugus, the Corey Suttles, the whole offensive line, Chuck and Big John and Jado, and they just we talked to them and said, like, if we're going to do, you're going to lead this team at 1-4, and you don't want to lead a 1-4 team, you want to lead a 4-1 team. But this is your, and they from that moment on, Jack Coldiron, and the list goes on and on, and just they said, no, we're not going to be the 1-11. We're not going out and have that year where what happened? Well, we came off the championship year. We had a couple tough opponents. It didn't start off good, and it just unraveled, which happens so many times. And our kids really just did a great job, and our assistant coaches did an amazing job of keeping those kids like, we still can do this. It's going to be really hard. But if we have one slip up, it's over. So we got to be locked in for the next 7 weeks, and they've done that, and they've created this wonderful opportunity. And this is, like I say, this is what we do it for.
Yeah, exactly.
You got a great team. In OU, you got a great rivalry. Like, until last year, this could never happen. We're on the same side, right?
We're on the same
now,
side.
Now you can have the Battle of Bricks in Detroit, which is amazing, and it's so much fun for both sides. And it should be a great, great contest.
Yeah, it should be a great crowd at Ford Field as well. Get your tickets and join us in Detroit this Saturday at noon. And I would be remiss if I didn't say this. Opportunity for Miami to win back-to-back championships for the first time in almost 50 years.
Yeah, since 1975. They won 73, 74, 75. They've never won back-to-back championships. And again, we've only won 5 championships since then. So like I said, it's hard to do. It's hard to be the last person. You can have great years, and Miami's had many great years through those years. You look at their records and the players and the coaches and all the great players and all the great coaches. But to win a championship, well, there was Marshall. I mean, because there's other great teams.
Yeah.
So like I try to tell these kids, it's so rare, and then it's 12 weeks. Yeah. And it only takes, and you're looking at the college football player, it only takes you to slip up once or twice. We don't get a 12-team playoff.
Right.
We got to be one of 2. Yeah. And it was so hard in the old days when there was just 2 teams in the college football playoffs to get there. Yeah. You couldn't slip up. Now you can slip up and still might be able to get there, which is pretty cool. But in our instance, 7 weeks ago, we had no margin for error. Like we were one mistake, one drive against Ball State, our defense makes the plays, right? Yeah. Our defense. Like, I think back to that drive, Ball State, they got the ball in the 35. And we're not sitting here talking about going to Detroit. So, and there's so many good teams in the league, and there's so much parity in our league, and there's so many capable. And you see, Toledo ends up 4-4, and you know how good a team they have. But it's Akron beat them last week. It's not that hard to lose in the MAC. Amazing job again, and if you look at our non-league record now, I think we're 49-18 in MAC play in our last 67 games, which we love to bring up because it's an amazing record.
It's an amazing record.
And I think we're like 38-9 with our starting quarterback during that stretch. So we're winning over almost 80% of our games in MAC when our start. So, but when we were 1-4, I wasn't necessarily thinking we'd be talking about this. So we're pretty proud and pretty pleased to be here.
Coach, thank you so much.
Thanks, Jake.
Head coach Chuck Martin joining us on RedHawk Football Weekly. Again, noon on Saturday against the Bobcats for the MAC championship from Ford Field. Terry Bridge and I on the call beginning at 11 a.m. Until then, for Coach Martin, I'm Steve Baker. Thanks for watching. Love and honor, everyone.